Welcome to the podcast of School Beyond Limitations. In this podcast, you will learn how to guide your child through their school life with the intention to help them find their unique essence that will allow your daughter, your son to live a fulfilled and meaningful life. If we look at the current educational system in many countries in Europe, in the first place, then we see lots of differences between the countries. We do have countries that are open for more change to happen, and they are also open to embrace what is innovative out there. And Estonia, for instance, is one of those countries that has really, of course, we also need to say it's a very small country and it's much easier to implement something new. And Estonia certainly has integrated in their educational system the digital revolution, but at the same time also subjects such as, well-being, such as happiness, and, looking at the person as a whole. And there is a reason for Estonia to be the first in the PISA studies, in the latest PISA studies. But we do have also other countries, like I would say Great Britain, and certainly also Germany belongs to those countries that are stuck in the traditional system. They are so stuck in the traditional system that basically there is no space for innovation whatsoever. There is still this understanding that students, the main thing for school is attending physically a school and attending all the different subjects and doing all the same things that the curriculum is, has designed. And the curriculum, as I already said in previous sessions, is who writes the curriculum. Isn't it funny? The curriculum is written by other people who may have lost sight of what is really going on. I mean, if I'm taking myself, who is interested in education, and education is always at the forefront of what I'm doing, of course, I have a little bit of an understanding of what's going on out there. And yet, I am limited myself because I'm not a millennial. I'm not a Generation Z person. And I may try to understand, these young people nowadays, but I have no idea whatsoever what it means to live a life that we call life, where basically being online and living in a physical world is so interconnected that children don't even understand anymore what the difference is between, nature and their surroundings that they are in and the digital device. And so that's what I'm saying. We have traditional systems, we have systems, and again, there are schools and heads of schools who try to implement innovation, who try to bring this on board, but the bureaucracy and the so-called monitoring systems, like in Great Britain, the Ofsted system, they look only at the outcome of of the tests. And if I'm only looking at that, what are the results? Then I'm missing out on what education actually means. Education means educare and extrapolating from within. That's education. And extrapolating from within is not only a repetition and working for a test. So, and in the first place, online or offline, I guess that our students now are so extremely exposed to so much information out there that our duty as educators to help them navigate this complex world. And that's where we need to come in as educators and as teachers and as systems. And does that then mean that students should be sitting for 8 hours in one room, moving from one room to the next room, and maybe then telling you that the most insightful or the most fascinating moment of their school life is meeting their friends in the breaks? And they can't remember anything what they've done in their respective lessons. And it's frustrating not only for the students but also for the teachers themselves, because they also start asking themselves, what am I doing here? I can't even control them anymore, because why is that happening? They can't control students anymore because students now start rebelling. They start rebelling against the system. That doesn't make sense. So, wouldn't it make sense to listen to the young people and to actually observe young people and work together with the young people, because they are the main people, the protagonists of the educational process, so that they have a say, and that we just, take what neuroscience tells us also on board, and what psychologists tell us on board, that we have the most cases of mental um, health problems we ever had. 25% apparently in Germany, 25% of students have been diagnosed with mental health problems. Why is that? Why is that? And there are studies in other countries as well. And I don't want to say that the traditional system is completely rotten, don't get me wrong. But we need to embrace what is development. Development is taking place. We can't negate development. Development is out there. I don't treat a 1-year-old child, baby, maybe not baby anymore, like a 10 years old. I don't treat a 10 years old the same as a 15 years old, because I know that they have the different developmental stages to be considered. And I, as another person, have this duty and responsibility to actually watch, listen, and act, react, of course, as well, but act before reacting, foreseeing, preempting, and embracing and bringing the person on board. Yeah, that's what we are doing at School Beyond Limitations. And I think it would be very, very wise to get away from the rigid system out there and say, can school not happen somehow differently? Do they really have to sit in their chairs every day? If we understand learning as a lifelong learning process, then there is no need for me to sit 8 hours in one classroom. I can do different things. I can go to the library for one hour. If I can do it in a group, of course, but I can go to mathematics. I can do lots of different things. I can live. I can be in integrated and involved in projects that have something to do with real life, financial education, entrepreneurial education, personal development, and academic learning, of course, as well. Doing things together, physical things together, crafty things together, lots of different things. So maybe the outlook is that we can transform our school buildings into something else, into learning spaces for many people, not just for 5, 6, 7 years old. And that may be the chance, the opportunity, and also challenge. But we should go and acknowledge the challenge and go with it. I have a big question when it comes to education, because if you look at constitutions of all the countries in the Western world, then all the constitutions actually say that basically it's the parents' authority and the parents' decision what they want their child to pursue and which kind of education. So it's their responsibility and their duty to look after their child. But then we have countries like Germany, for instance, where the state says you have to go, you have to attend a specific school, and there is no chance for you to do something else unless you go to a school that's accredited, and unless you pay extra for that school. So in my view, actually, it would make sense that first and foremost, it's the parents who decide for the well-being and the education of their children, like in the United States of America and in other countries as well, such as in Italy or Ireland and also in Great Britain. I think it's the parents' duty and responsibility, and they decide. And then if they decide for their child because they think a private school is the best school for their child, then in my view, it would be fair that the parents got the subvention, that basically the support, the financial support by the state, because this child is not attending a state school, and the state schools are basically financed by the state in the first place. So if the student is not attending a state school, why shouldn't the parent have the possibility of applying for the financial support by the state because their child attends a private school? In my view, this would be fair. It would be, and of course, it can be on the basis, I don't want to become political here, but it can be on the basis of the income of the parents also. But uh, if we know that a student costs the state, let's say 17 or 18,000 euros per year in a high school or secondary school in Austria, why shouldn't these parents get those 18,000 students for themselves if their child then decides to attend a private school? I think we are far away from being free. We are far away from acknowledging that parents always want to do the best for their children. And I think we need to actually ask politicians, and I invite politicians to look into that, and to look into the well-being of the students, and also the understanding that parents, I don't have figures now, but out of my experience, I would say 99.9% of the parents only want the best for their children. And if this is the foundation of what, a state should cater for, then I would say the best judge, in quotation mark, for the upbringing of the children and their education is their parents. What is my personal wish about the future with regards to the school and beyond? Because we always say beyond limitations. So I would like to also take this chance to talk also generically speaking. I really hope and wish, and I'd like to say no, that we are at a tipping point with regards to education, that people basically wake up and say, I have the right to do what I think is good for myself and also for the environment I'm living in. And I would like more of SPL thinking, to be in the minds of people. And because I believe that having more opportunities out there in the world will create new a new thinking, and a new thinking. Maybe I'm too kind of naive about it, but I also believe if there is new thinking and if we all think beyond limitations, then there is no space for war. There's no space for hatred. There's no space for um, um, negative competition. And if I talk about negative competition, I'd like to say a competition that doesn't allow another person to be next to you. If I compete in the sense of giving the best and being, a role model or whatsoever, and just doing, and following the calling within myself, then I would never see and following my heart, then I would never see in another person a competitor. I would rather see in the other person a potentially a person I can learn from, I can collaborate with, and we can move forward, even if we may have different views, but still with the intention of what else is possible beyond limitations. So I think this is possible. I think it's not easy. I don't think it will come immediately, but I wished, I wish that more schools embraced more such thinking, personal development, entrepreneurial thinking, and so forth, and that people understand that they are all creators of their own lives. And is that a given? Yes, it is a given, but we have forgotten about it and we need to learn it again, because if we connect with our inner knowing and with a why within ourselves, then actually things will unfold with hurdles in the way. But as we know, hurdles are there to be looked at and then to move forward.
At School Beyond Limitations, we support our students find their unique essence. Feel free to share the content of this podcast with other parents. We are here to show that your children can, indeed, bring their unique essence into life. So, reach out to us if you think that this is what you'd like your daughter, your son to experience, or apply through our website. Also, leave your comments, your questions, or your review about the podcast. Share it with others. And as you know, sharing is caring.